Before we get into the lesson, I would like to take a moment to introduce our professor to you. The professor that will be teaching you this section is going to be RagingTaz. For those who do not know who RagingTaz is an amazing trainer. He's been on top of the Silph game for every season of Silph. He was a Silph Elite. He was also ranked 87 in the world at the end of Season 1. And last but not least, he is also the first ever European Continental Champion. This is quite an achievement. If you don't believe me, check out this clip.
Welcome back, students. I'm RagingTaz and I will be your IV professor for today's video. Okay, I assume you all know what IVs are, so let's jump on how IVs actually work and matter in terms of PvP stuff. First of all, preliminary considerations about what should we ask to ourselves before building a Pokemon. Which one is the correct question you should make to yourself? Is it good for PvP? Is this Venusaur good for PvP? Wrong question. Never ask, is it good? Which one is the correct? Is it good for my strategy? This is the correct one. Why? Because nothing is certain in Pokemon Go PvP. Nothing is the best. It all depends, and I will show you why. First of all, I just made a categorization. It's of course a custom categorization for the matchups where IV show their influence. First thing, mirror matchups. Second, CMP dependent matchups. Third one, Highlander. I called it like this, but it's meant to be when something outlasts another thing. Two more things to speak about, which are bulk points and break points. First thing, mirror matchups. How do mirror matchups work? Basically, you have two Pokemons that are the same, and I made an example. By instance, the mirror matchup Frostlass versus Frostlass. Who wins? Frostlass. No, I'm joking. Which Frostlass wins? The Frostlass with the higher attack stat. Why? Because basically the higher attack Frostlass just throws first all the time. So whenever in each scenario, 0 shield, you go straight Shadow Ball and you win. 1 shield, you bait, he baits, you throw Shadow Ball and you win the CMP tie and you kill the enemy Pokemon. 2 shields, same thing. So how IV influenced this particular matchup? Basically, the higher the attack, the better. And I have to point out a thing. When we talk about IVs, you move in a range of 0 to 50 bonus points, but the CMP ties, or to better say, the CMP tie breakers are dependent on the compulsive attack stat. So 15 in attack on a Pokemon doesn't mean that that Pokemon wins CMP ties against all the other mons that don't have 15 in attack. That Pokemon is gonna win if its compulsive attack stat is higher than the opposing mon. Conclusion, attack weighted Frostlass wins because it throws the last charged move first, and that charged move, which is Shadow Ball, is lethal. Second instance for mirror matchups. Umbreon. How does this matchup work? As you can see on the left, we have the attack weighted, and on the right, the rank 1 Umbreon. The attack weighted just picks the 0 versus 0 shields, while the rank 1 can actually win the 1 shield and 2 shield scenario. Why? because basically the rank 1 Umbreon outlasts the attack weighted. In this simulation you can see Umbreon throwing double foul play just because it can, but it could go straight last resort in the end and win with less HPs. This is why the simulation uses double foul play. But rank 1 Umbreon wins because he has so much better stats that he outlasts the attack weighted. Even if he loses the CMP tie, he still survives the last charged move and is able to throw his own charged move and win the matchup. Conclusion: the attack weighted Umbreon wins only in the 0 versus 0 shields, and in the 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 shields, the highest overalls one survives, which means that the highest defensive stat takes the win. In this case, guys, in this case, each matchup is unique. You have to think that nothing is certain. You have to analyze every single matchup. So in this case, high stat prod is better than attack weighted. In the Frostless, it was the complete opposite, and I showed you 2 mirror matchups. So we don't have a correct answer. You don't know if you have to go straight for the high stat prod or for the attack weighted. It depends. CMP tie dependent matchups. By instance, Venusaur versus Sableye. Both of these mons have 120 and something attack. Both of them. So what does it mean? In this specific case, as it was happening in the Frostless matchup, Venusaur and Sableye generate energy at the same time, and their charged move costs the same amount of energy. So the one with the higher attack stat just wins the CMP and takes down the opposing Pokemon. Again, Highlander case, Umbreon versus Meganium, it may happen, and the average Umbreon versus the average Meganium loses the 1 versus 1 shield, while the rank 1 can pick Meganium in the 1 versus 1 shield. Just because it outlasts Meganium, it survives the decisive Frenzy Plant with few HPs and is able to throw the decisive Foul Play to flip the matchup. So I show you that in mirror matchups and in non-mirror matchups, you can choose whether or not pick the attack weighted stat prod or the high stat prod, high overall. But it's not everything, because you can also choose specific IV spreads to have a break point or a bulk point in a specific meta matchup. What does it mean? Altaria versus Azumarill. I think everyone playing GBL out there has played this matchup so many times. I've played this very often, even before GBL started, because I'm a former and I'm still a current Silph player. So what happens in this matchup? Azumarill, of course, wins over Altaria. On the left, we have Azumarill with Ice Beam. On the right, we have Azumarill with Blade Rough. On the left, as you can see, Azumarill picks Altaria all the time. Going down in the same matchup, which is Azumarill with Ice Beam against Altaria, you can see that Altaria can pick Azumarill with 2 shields. What does it mean? It exists, if you watch on the left, an offensive breakpoint that guarantees Altaria to deal double the damage on the Dragon Breath. What breakpoints are? Breakpoints are basically specific amounts of attack which provide a Pokemon bonus damage. This is basically because of the math of the game that I'm not gonna explain right now, but if Altaria has a lot of attack, Altaria can break the defense of Azumarill and deal 1 more damage. So if you are playing an attack weighted Altaria, you can pick Azumarill shielding twice, even if he shield once. That is useful, right? But what if Azumarill has Play Rough? Okay, let's look on the right. The matchup is closer if Azumarill has Play Rough, but actually Altaria wins if Altaria has the offensive breakpoint over Azumarill in the 1 versus 1 shield, just because Altaria builds up tons of damage over time because of that offensive breakpoint. So what are bulk points then? Okay, bulk points are basically the same thing of the breakpoints, but reversed. Bulk points are specific defense values which provide a Pokemon the possibility to take less damage from a thing. This is one of my favorite I'm showing you, which is the defensive bulk point of Machamp against Altaria. Basically, Machamp can straight Rock Slide Altaria and win without baiting if he has the defensive bulk point. Just because Machamp takes 1 less damage from each Dragon Breath. This is a Shadow Machamp, of course, sorry. So, how to say, what is good for PvP? Nothing, but everything. What does this mean? This means that you have to be critic. You have to think about the perfect IV spread according to your team and the meta you are playing in. In Open Great League, you may like having a bulk point to Machamp because you expect Altaria as counter switch to Machamp. In Ultra League, you would like to have an attack weighted Machamp because you want to win the CMP ties in the mirrors. In Great League, you would like to have Umbreon with tons of defensive stats just because Umbreon outlasts almost many of negative matchups that the attack weighted one doesn't survive to. So with this, I hope to have a new sight, a new vision on the PvP IVs, and I hope you can think about my words and choose the best thing that fits your strategy. So thanks everyone for watching the channel, thanks everyone for paying attention to my words, raging kisses to everyone, and we will see on my Twitch or in this channel for further collaboration. Thank you, bye bye.